Just a quick note, this video was made back in February, and so some updates are now being talked about. I've added new segments, and hopefully made the video more entertaining.
With Azure Latch's 1-year anniversary coming up, I decided to cover the entire history of Azure Latch.
Before we talk about Azure Latch, we have to talk about the previous game before it, Fiction Battlegrounds. This game was really hyped up due to animations and featuring new characters, such as Okarun from Dandadan, and that one slap guy from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, which were two very unique characters at the time. The game garnered traction because of popular YouTubers like Fade on Change, Sentuba, and Tuff playing the game and showcasing it on their YouTube channels. However, on release, the game would unexpectedly fall and plummet due to its poor gameplay and poor fighting mechanics, as well as console and mobile players not being able to play the game due to it being very buggy on those devices. After enough time trying to fix the game, the creator AM would decide to leave it and focus on a new project, this project being called Azure Latch, which would feature Fiction's Battlegrounds' old developer team like Left, Right, and Das. Development would start around October or August of 2024. In November through January, sneak peeks were given of Isagi's moves and Nagi. The game would stand out due to its unique animations and gameplay, featuring side dashes, which was not typically seen in these Blue Lock type of games. The most popular Blue Lock game at the time was Blue Lock Rival, handled by Crollo and his development team at current. Not much is known about this time or can even be looked at anymore, due to the old original Azure Latch server being nuked, which will be talked about later on in the video. The game would publicly release its beta on February 18th or 19th with this thumbnail. It would launch with 4 characters: Shido, Nagi, Isagi, and Sai. There's not much to say about the release, so let's move on to the next segment.
The first real big Azure Latch update was the Michael Kaiser update, released on March 7th, so about a month after the game released. This update would feature the new style, Kaiser, which would release with 1 awakening animation, 1 flow shot, and 1 flow variant.
Along with this update came something new: MVP animations, which was never seen before in Blue Lock games. In this update, they added Rin Triumph, Kaiser's Breakthrough, and Nagi Seisho's U20 goal. From here on out, we'll go over legacy updates only, with some mentions of the new updates that changed the game in some way, like Kunigami, Noisigi, and Chiguri. The second update we'll talk about in this video is Don Lorenzo, the second world class added after Michael Kaiser. Don Lorenzo would release on April 12th, with 4 base moves, 1 awakening animation, 1 flow move, and 1 flow variant. In this update came something new, a new mechanic never seen before in Blue Lock games: quick time events. The quick time event would happen on Don Lorenzo's steal. Missing the quick time event would play a different animation of you missing the steal on the player. Hitting the quick time event would cause you to steal the ball from the player. Don Lorenzo would end up getting a mastery later on, but we're not here to cover that. The next style we'll be covering is Rin. But before we cover Rin, please make sure to like and subscribe. This video took me a lot of work, and it's actually my first proper YouTube video. I would really appreciate it. Rin would release on April 7th. Now you might be wondering, wait, isn't this before Don Lorenzo? And you'd be right, but I didn't catch that until after I finished Don Lorenzo's part. So my bad, but we'll just cover it as normal like we did every other character. Rin would release with 3 base moves, 1 awakening animation, 2 awakening moves, and 1 awakening variant. Now this update was actually the first update to introduce quick time events and its special interaction feature. This feature would only happen in overtime, when a Rin popped ult while a Sai had the ball. This update would also change the game drastically. The gameplay feature dashing would get reworked, making the distance you go way shorter. Along with this, they added a new map, which was way bigger than the old map. This was to stop pace abusing, which was very complained about in the community. After this would be the Don Lorenzo update, which we already covered. The next update on the list is Aiku and Baro, which would be the longest wait we would have for a new character. In this update, instead of the usual 1 character per update, we had 2. Aiku and Baro. This update would also be Azure Latch's biggest, reaching around 100k players on release, beating Blue Lock rivals, which was never seen before by Blue Lock games, showing that Azure Latch could really be the next big Blue Lock game. We'll start going over important updates quickly, Starting off, Chigiri and Nagi rework. This update would introduce a new style, Chigiri, and would rework Nagi, giving him new animations and moves. This is an important update due to it being the last Azure Latch update by the original development team and owners. The next update after this would be Kunigami, made by the new Azure Latch dev team and a bit of the old dev team, like Mercy and Left Right. Although, on releasing the Kunigami update, it was lackluster, only having one ultimate move for a legendary style. Although later on they would end up giving him a chemical reaction and a steel move. Next important update after this is the No Isugi update, which would introduce Quest, which will make sense for a mastery character like No Isugi. No Isugi has been in the works for a long time, since the old development team, since Aiku and Baro update, where his ultimate animation was originally Sneak.
Let's talk about the newest update, the Kiora update. Kiora released with 4 base moves and an awakening move, which was pretty disappointing at first. It was almost like Kunigami on release. But later, we were promised a chemical reaction and a variant. 2 weeks after Kiora released, we got his variant, but no chemical reaction. And we were promised that the chemical reaction would come the next week, and the next week, and so on and so on. And to this day, as of uploading this video, the chemical reaction has still not been released. Then, we would get 2 months of straight bullshit with these quality of life updates, which would feature almost no content for free-to-play players. And during those 2 months, they only released 2 free emotes and 1 free MVP. But anyways, a couple months back, they released a ranked game mode, and it severely died after the promised rewards that they would get at the end of the season never happened. Which brings us to our newest update, the Ranked Overhaul update. This update reworked Ranked completely and promised rewards for completing the season with a high rank. But when releasing this update and talking about it, he would essentially bully you into playing his game mode, with statements such as, "Are you still bronze?" and "Anyone silver yet?" That's all I have to say about the new game modes and the new updates.
This is the last update we'll be covering, so on to the next segment. Like most games, Azure Latch is far from controversy, whether it being Am leaving the game without telling anyone, or him selling it, or a piece of bread being worth 90k Robux. The point is, Azure Latch has been through way too many controversies, way too many to cover in one segment, so we'll go over them really quickly. Starting off, Chatterman. Chatterman was exposed for grooming or talking very inappropriately to minors. Here's everything we'll be talking about. Very early on, when Boss Studios bought the game, they were reported for not paying the developers on time or even paying them at all. Caleb, another manager of the game, would be reported for stealing 50k of the game's funds and payments for the developers. 2 managers, Shota and Umakes, were exposed for doing very awful things. To what extent, we don't know. Animations for Don Lorenzo's mastery would be traced or stolen upright from Project Egos' development team. The music producer for the game would end up leaving due to all the controversy of him using AI on some of the tracks, such as Reos' aiku copy theme, which you heard at the start of the video, and Corona. The game has been through tons of controversy and drama. There's been many decisions that the community doesn't like, such as them adding a battle pass or them locking the newest character, Hiyori, behind a quest. With all that out of the way, let's move on to current day.
Current day Azure Latch is in a weird position. I'm not too fond of how it's turned out and how the communication has been with the community recently. Let's just hope that they deliver on the next update, supposedly being the biggest update in Azure Latch's history, featuring 2 characters, Karasu and Otoya. As well, let's hope that they deliver on more free stuff for the majority of the players, and actually communicate with the community. That's all I have for right now. Thank you for watching.